everyone, Asia's largest slum and Mumbai's densely populated Dharavi is all set to undergo monumental transformation. It is going to transform lives of lakhs of residents. We are at some key sites in connection to the project, and we're joined by CEO of Dharavi Redevelopment Project, Mr. SVR Srinivas, who will take us through the latest updates as far as the status of the project is concerned, the progress, challenges, and what lies ahead. Thank you, Mr. Srinivas, for joining us on this important discussion. Let me begin by asking you, so, take us through the objective and vision as far as this project is concerned. The objective and vision that is sort of redefining this particular project, and what is the status at this point, and how is it going to change the landscape of Dharavi in particular, and what it means for Mumbai and India at large?
The vision for Dharavi redevelopment from the point of view of the residents as well as the state government in particular and government of India is to have a slum-free Mumbai. Okay. So this is the first big step. Dharavi redevelopment is the first huge step towards a slum-free Mumbai, because you can't have a slum-free Mumbai with Dharavi in the center being the Asia's largest slum. That dubious distinction needs to go. And the objective is to redevelop and replan, reimagine Dharavi, taking into concern all the concerns of all the stakeholders. At the same time, to ensure that the facilities, at least the basic human facilities that everybody needs, for instance, drinking water at home or a toilet at home, plus of course houses and the livelihoods are protected, and ensure that everybody gets a house. And the motto is, of course, housing for all. That is the motto of Dharavi Redevelopment Project. Yeah.
Right, so, we are at one of the key sites of this project. I believe a lot of people of Dharavi will be relocated here. Take us through the significance of this railway land, which will be used for relocation purpose. And what's the status of this? How many people will be relocated here? And the phased-wise rehabilitation of people that will take place in the days to come.
See, this site that we are in is been taken over by the Dharavi Redevelopment Authority project from the railways. And this is about roughly up to about 40 acres of land. Right now you can see the construction going on, actually, as we can see. So this is the first concrete step, you can say, a concrete step towards the redevelopment of Dharavi. And here we are planning through the SPV to redevelop and reconstruct the railway buildings which are there already here, and to redevelop a slum that is already here. At the same time, over and above that, to rehabilitate the residents, the slum dwellers and renewal tenements here of Dharavi. We are expecting about 15 to 20,000 tenements here to construct here.
So, sir, about the eligibility criterion, massive surveys are being conducted, and that's a huge exercise. Take us through the survey that is being conducted. How far has the survey process reached? How far for you to go? And the eligibility criteria. How many people are really eligible? I'm sure some of them will have their own homes. Some of them will have to live as tenants, because there are tenants there are house owners. So take us through who is eligible, who is not, and if they're not eligible, what is the alternative that's provided to them?
The first step towards Dharavi redevelopment is the determination of who is eligible to get a house and who is not. But typically, in all the slum schemes, there is a huge distinction. Those eligible will get a house, and those not, they don't get a house. Okay. But in Dharavi, the main motto, as I said, is housing for all, albeit in different formats, right? So those eligible who have come before 2000 and 2011 respectively, without or with small payment, they'll get a house inside Dharavi, right? Secondly, those who are not eligible, for instance, those on mezzanine floor, first floor, second floor, that is almost 50% of the population, which otherwise in normal course would have been thrown out on the roads. Here we are ensuring that, government is ensuring that they too will be given a house in the form of rental housing, but with a higher purchase right. They will be able to purchase the house at the prices which will be very, very reasonable over a period of time. They will be able to purchase. They will be able to purchase the house, and but that will be outside Dharavi, but within Mumbai.
Okay.
So those eligible will get a house, free house here in Dharavi, and those who are not eligible will get a house on a rental basis with a right to purchase. They can also become owners, right? So that is a very important step. So housing for all. Yeah.
Housing for all is, of course, the final objective. Sir, the survey is the foundation of this project, right? That's going to take many more months. Current status of survey, is technology being used to go door to door? And what are some of the concerns raised by residents whenever, people go and do this survey?
See, the survey is right now almost 70-80% complete.
Okay.
About 90,000 units have been numbered, right? And about 70,000, 65 to 70,000 have been surveyed, right? Actually, detailed documentation has been done in a digital format with on a tablets. This survey has been carried out. So, digital survey.
It is a tight-knit community. So how are you planning to integrate everything? And it's interesting to see these survey numbers as well. If you can take us through this as well, and the scope and complexity of the project.
See, this is, for instance, the number through which to point out that this house has been surveyed. So this is a unique ID is given. For example, this is unit number 80, right? So this is how the survey goes on. So after this, actually detailed door-to-door documentation goes on. Okay, so it means this place has been surveyed, right? So they are included in the process. They will be eligible. If they are eligible, they will get a house. Right. Otherwise, they will get rental house. So housing for sure they will get. The project has three major dimensions, right? One is construction of multi-storied houses, right? Those who have houses, they will get houses. Yeah. And those who have commercial establishment, they will get a replacement of commercial establishment and factories built up. Okay. So that is the first thing. But actually, that is not the end of all. There is second dimension to the project, which is basically the physical infrastructure. As you can see here, we are in a lane where it's hardly 2-3 feet width. There's hardly any sunlight coming, right? The distance between building, as you can see, it is hardly 1 foot, right? And between the two sides of the same road, but between the building there is not even 1 inch distinction, right? So we need infrastructure in terms of number one, roads and bridges. More important being the drinking water. Okay, households has to have water, and of course sanitation, a toilet at home, right? So this is the physical infrastructure we are talking about in terms of sewage, stormwater, roads, bridges. All these need to be constructed. And thirdly, of course, the very important component is the social infrastructure. See, it's a tight-knit community, as you rightly pointed out, and it is a mini India that we have here, right? We have people of all languages, religions, right? Ethnic groups, they are staying here. So each group has to be catered to, and also as a total community, they require social infrastructure in terms of hospitals, schools, colleges, right? And community centers, right? Recreation grounds. All these things have to be come up. So we are basically building a city within a city.
Right, like a township of sorts, but a massive one.
Yes, much mega township. Yeah.
So a lot of talks on who's eligible, who's not eligible, who the land belongs to, since when they've been living here and all of that. So explain the concept of VLT to us and the land parcels in Dharavi.
See, I have just mentioned, it is a very complex project. One more angle to this project is the vacant land tenancies. Right. See, some of the lands have been given by Municipal Corporation of Mumbai as a vacant land tenancy in those days, decades back. Right. So, however, when the slum is declared, these tenancies come to a close. So, there will be no longer tenants, right? That is the rule. Yeah. So, if they have to continue to occupy those premises, it is much better and it is required that they participate in the survey. The concerned people who are occupying the vacant land tenancies become a part of the survey and participate in the process of survey and redevelopment, so that if they are eligible, they will get the house. If they are not eligible, still they will get a house, but albeit in a different manner, as I said. So vacant land tenancies come to a close when the slum is declared. Yeah.
Understood.
So that is another complexity.
So
but several complexities.
Irrespective of the complexities of land ownership, everybody is going to get.
Yes. Land ownership. Most of the land is owned by government here. See, most of the Dharavi land is owned by government. So none of the private people own the land as such. The structures, what we are protecting here is the structure. Where the family stays or where a shop is there, where it is a factory is there, right? So that's very important to note that VLTs come to a close and all land actually belongs to government.
So there are multiple commercial establishments in Dharavi that deals with leather, food, recycling, you name it and they have it. So what does this redevelopment mean for these commercial industries and how complex is it to deal with some of these industries and businesses?
See, Dharavi is a vibrant cultural hub, but more importantly, it's a very vibrant economy, albeit in informal sector, as I said earlier. And the industries that are here and factories that are here and commercial establishments are diverse categories, but there are such a larger ones. Like for example, there is a leather industry, there is a potter's colony which is called Kumbharwada, and there is a food industry, right, which is a service industry, right, and a lot of dozens and dozens and dozens of Udupi restaurants, for example, here. And we also have plastic recycling. In fact, Dharavi is the India's largest recycling machine, in fact. Indirectly, it cross-subsidies the rest of Mumbai because they are doing it free of cost, for free of cost. And they are also doing business out of it. So there are livelihoods issues and they have to be rehabilitated, keeping their requirements in our sensitivities. So these are the issues that the project will be dealing with, and this is how the master plan will be made by the SPV. In fact, we have given them instructions to that effect that they should make the master plan keeping in with these sensitivities, and with that I am sure we will be able to address most of these concerns. Yeah.
On a regular basis, what are some of the challenges that you as somebody who is implementing the project is facing?
See, there are humongous challenges because this is the world's largest urban renewal project. It's the world's largest. And secondly, as a slum, it's the oldest slum in Mumbai. It is a century-old slum, right? So it has its dynamics, it has its own life.
Yeah.
And the challenges are many. For example, the density itself, as you can see between the houses, there is no distance, no gap at all. The density of Dharavi is possibly the highest in the world. It is about 2 lakh per square kilometer, a little more in fact. Because the density is generally about, in a city of Mumbai, it's about 20-25,000. Now it is 10 times more we are talking about. So that is the first challenge. Second is existence of a lot of shops. You can see some of the shops here, for instance. And third is very close. As a crow flies, the airport, it is very close by. So you can't really have a very tremendous high-rise here.
So there have been many attempts or at least talks about redevelopment of Dharavi. This is not happening for the talk at least is not happening for the first time. But finally, it is taking off. How different is this proposal, is this attempt from what the attempts were in the past?
See, the Dharavi project has been conceptualized way back in mid-80s, right? So at the highest level in the country. And that is now way back in 1985-86, now it is 2025, it is 4 decades now. So several attempts have been made earlier to come out with the Dharavi redevelopment, to start the works. But it took almost, it has a dubious distinction of being the world's longest bid process also. Earlier bids had failed actually, multiple times. And the reasons being, one of them is, for example, everything developer had to do earlier. It's a developer-driven project. So, but how it is different now? Why the bids are, this time we got it are? One is we actually went through another paradigm shift, right? Another mechanism called the SPV model, where government is also a partner.
And so take us through the excluded portion of the project as well. Of course, we are talking about the mammoth, project which in a sense covers the entire Dharavi. But there are excluded portions as well, right? Such as this.
So you have actually touched upon, Radhika, about the another complexity of this. Dharavi is, of course, contiguous entity, but there are several pockets, hundreds of them, which are excluded portions, right? So actually these portions are bits and pieces, right? Okay. So they are excluded. For instance, this land behind us and many such. So they have to be included, right, on a need basis. And also people will also be coming forth, I am sure, as the development proceeds. They are also part of the redevelopment, right? So this is another complexity. and that has to be dealt with. I am sure the master plan that is going to come, it will also address it, and also the project itself will address it as the works goes on.
So how significant is this master plan? Because that is going to serve as a blueprint for all the residents who have questions here, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
See, the vision of Dharavi will be laid out in the master plan,
Okay.
and as we speak, it is getting ready by the SPV. We had taken about 30-40 meetings at myself, in fact, and we have given our inputs. So hopefully it's going to finalize very soon, in a couple of weeks or 2-3 weeks, and it should basically deal with the what is in store for the people of Dharavi, and second is what is the strategy. See, to ensure that all these stakeholders are also benefited by this,
Yeah.
right? And third is how to ensure that the dream of housing for all is realized, right? In addition to that, the strategy will also lay out the spatial plan, the spatial distribution of open spaces, the community built structures, or the commercial establishment layout, the zoning, all these things will be laid out in the master plan. And also the second component of master plan is the infrastructure plan. I just mentioned, infrastructure is the second dimension. So that will also be laid out in as a part of the master plan, the infrastructure side, in terms of, for example, how the water supply will be, undertaken, how the sewerage systems, stormwater systems, right, and other things, major things like bridges, roads, how it will be rebuilt, how they will widen.
Yeah.
All this will be part of the second side of the master plan. So one side is the spatial plan,
Yeah.
second side is the infrastructure plan.
Right.
And as I speak, I can also tell you that there is a business plan for the Dharavi also, actually, in terms of how to mobilize resources, etc.
Okay.
So yeah, so already about 4,000 crores has been mobilized into the project by the SPV, as I can say that. So it's a lot of funding is already happening, as we can see. Yeah.
So protests against such projects are nothing, new. As in, you see protests during such massive projects. And how do you deal with the opposition that comes with such projects? And what is your message to those
See, it
who
is,
are against?
No.
A redevelopment
It is
project
not.
of this
See,
kind?
basically, people would like to have it. The fact that we could already survey about 60,000-70,000 units, it shows that it has crossed the threshold stage, right? And construction has started. So there will be some concern, very genuine, bordering on actually disbelief, because this is not happening for 4 decades. So people don't even believe, right? So, but it is happening. So slowly that will change. And secondly, as you can see, one of the is the misgivings. For example, one of the reasons why people do protest is also misgiving. For instance, as you can see here, the upper floors. So it is many times told that these people don't get anything. But I want to reiterate that these upper floors will also be rehabilitated through the rental housing establishments policy, whereby they'll become hire purchase owners eventually.
So I
right?
think that's very important.
That's very, very
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
So these, and communication becomes very important. I think one part of this exercise today with you is also to communicate across,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This
So
is
I
one
think, sir,
small
this is
part
an
nonetheless.
interesting,
Yeah, but we
thing
also
that
have
is-
communication in the field also.
So please do take us through more misgivings, misinformation, or misconceptions about the project that perhaps you'd like
See,
to
another
address.
misconception is that the land is being given to the SPV. But actually the land that is coming to for rehabilitation of the non-eligible people is coming to the Dharavi project, the government, right? So that is another misconception I want to clarify. And third is, for example, railway land, there is a misconception that it has come free. No, we have spent nearly 1,000 crores to be reimbursed by the SPV to government, right? And another misconception is for instance, the rent or the ownership flats, the purchase price will be going to the SPV. No, again it will come back to it will come only to the DRP, which is the government. So all these misconceptions need to be set right. I think this questionnaire will help us to set most of them right.
Yeah. And sir, there are lakhs and lakhs of slums across the country. Of course, this is the biggest that you have undertaken. So is it going to be, will this redevelopment be a blueprint for other slums across the country to be redeveloped in a systematic way?
So anything, if it is successful, it can be applied mutatis mutandis. It can't be one jacket fits all. No, it doesn't. But however, there are certain things which can be takeaways if the project is successful. And I can see some sprouts of the such things happening. See, the fact that the survey is nearing completion, the fact that work has started, right? So that itself is a good sign.
Yeah.
And I think slowly the atmosphere that is already changed in fact, and slowly further progress will be seen very soon. Yeah.
Sir, in your career spanning so many years, you have been an urban planning expert, a specialist. You have executed and implemented several projects. You've been part of the MMRDA. How special is this project for you personally and professionally? And do you think this is a legacy project of sorts which you've undertaken?
I have done many mega projects. However, I consider myself lucky in that. But this project, in fact, I don't even call it a project. It's a movement. Such a work of this scale complexity is the toughest that I have ever seen in my career, but it's the most challenging. And in fact, I love it. But because the challenges is what we are meant for, to take on challenges, and it has a physical component, but it is a social human element. Such projects are very hardly seen. And secondly, as I said, it is the brownest of the brownfield projects in the world. Brownest of the brownfield. It is much easier to do on a greenfield level, but brownfield projects. So it gives immense satisfaction if we are able to, with the blessings of the government, center and state, they are fully behind it. In fact, as you can see, with their blessing, with their support, if we are able to better the lives of the people, of the lakhs of people here, I think that will be a blessing for myself and entire team here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Srinivas, for giving us valuable insights into this massive, historic project, or as you say, movement. It is certainly going to reshape lives of lakhs of people here. And we, of course, will keep giving you updates on the progress of the project every step of the way. And all the best to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.